as it was important for me to have the last tune because it was very beautiful. Something about it I liked. I can't pick it out, but it seems to be all for the enjoyment. In fact, this is my day. How are you? How is your day, my friends? My friends, and let me see if I can enhance this light, which seems darker than light. The light is darker than light. Today is another day. Such obvious statements is the rule of the day. We don't know how the day will end, and we didn't know if the day would come. But here we are. We are in this space of time, which seems to be standing still at the same time that it is moving. Not because that I am moving, but time seems to travel, being pushed by a force that is pushing us forward into actions, into observations, into contemplations, into words, into letters, into eternity. When we realize where we have appeared, when we realize that we are here and now and present, coming from the past, maybe it is all around, it's polar opposite. Maybe we came from the future, going into the past in some way, in some weird way. My mind is like that I'm kind of seeing into the future by my past. So we appear in a state that is now. Well, let me not elaborate more on this time issue. I can't go without having to have some words on it. It's yesterday news. It's maybe yesterday news is a good topic. Yesterday's news. Sometimes we didn't believe in yesterday's news. Somehow we didn't believe it. It was back then, and when it comes to 10 years ago, it was all back in those days. Everything happened because of yesterday's news. Julian Assange said something that the media have started the war, is behind the war since 50 years ago. It proves that media also could have avoided the war. He claimed that most of the situation were obviously manipulated by media. And as I have said many times, because I get the feeling that I don't really believe what I read in the media. It is so superficial. It is so groundless. It's so lifted off of the ground where the news should belong. It doesn't really match the situation. As I was in Israel in 2014, the media here in Norway lied throughout the war. Let me take an example. Like now, the example is that over 30,000 Palestinians are killed. And it's so much focused on that it seems to be ethnic cleansing, genocide of that civilization. 30,000. They are not, the media is not even bothered by picking out what kind of victims are fallen. They pick out children, of course. That is their, I think that is politic. When they pick out children, is killed. Yet it is a war. And normally when you have a war, you state how many soldiers are killed. Israel is more specific about fallen. It says that around 12,000 Hamas soldiers are fallen. 2,000 of them are imprisoned. They are taken captive. And some thousand belongs to Islamic Jihad. So there is around, could say, 15,000 combatants that are either fallen or taken. The rest, civilian casualties. Now, the numbers are more indicating what this war is all about. So the news media here in Norway are covering up the acts of Hamas. That is a motivation for boycott the Israel. It's a motivation for boycott Israel. I had to have a bite because it was because people here are talking about ceasefire now. It started even before New Year. Ceasefire now started before the New Year. I don't really understand. But it is a media war against Israel. It's a media war where they portray Israel in the worst way. Those that are expertise on this subject, war subject, stated that Israel is saving more lives. Yet media is portraying Israel as killers of civilians because they are not specify who is killed. Why? Yesterday's news was not news at all. It was slander. Here they say boycott Israel. Yes, because of this slander. They claim to be occupied territory. Yet it is not. It is legally governed territory. Legally governed territory. Why does media dictate the opinion of people in that extent? Yesterday's news is a false portrayal of the situation that is now. Yesterday's news is wasted time reading, getting to understand. Because if you base your opinion on yesterday's news, it's always yesterday's news. It's never now. News can never be now. The news you get is in your own eyes. What you see is what you believe to be true. The news that you hear about was always yesterday. You can know now because they have some broadcasting directly, but that is just bits and pieces of the whole news. You can see some rockets, you can hear some machine gun and shouting, hiding. You can see people, soldiers, jumping over destroyed homes, destroyed roads. You will never get the real picture. You are out of order. You are just behind, watching it, making your own opinion based on all the indications of which the media wanted you to believe. They give you tools in order to believe what I am saying. I've been so provoked by this media that I've called the companies many times just in order to tell them how I see they are doing. I inform them about the falsehood of how they portray the news. But they don't change. It seems that they can't change. And why is that? I think they are not capable. as a Christian, they didn't know he was Christian. In the NRK, he was about to go on air telling about the situation in Israel. With the Lebanese war, it was back in many years ago. And he said that I have to say the truth. I have to put out what is real. And for that, he was fired. Because everything wasn't as the broadcasting studio wanted it to be. And he went on YouTube. You may have some prejudice about YouTube, but some of the finest, most educated people tend to go to YouTube. The big media houses have their own political idea. So, for example, UFO wasn't... it was always ridiculed in the media. The big media houses always had this approach to people that have experienced UFO and identified flying objects. Seen some of them even made photos. It was always portrayed as something bogus, inventive, fantasy, not serious people. That's why many people didn't go to the media, because it was always crude in a so bad way that they couldn't stand for it. They couldn't even respect how they were portrayed as someone that was mentally ill. The media have their own take on things. You saw that in the election of Trump and Biden. The fact that Trump said that the election was rigged seems to be true today. I don't defend... I have no opinion about... I have more opinion now about Trump and Biden than I had back in those days. So did many. So they made a fool of Trump, that he claimed that the election was rigged. And many states had this odd way of doing the election. And those that know such things, which I don't, they said something very odd happened. And here, the media house, they were condemning Trump as if they did know him back in 2016. They were so prejudiced. Even the last election in 2020, they cried. They were touched when Biden won. How is this? How is this possible that media can have their opinion expressed when a president, a war, a vaccine, you can name all of them, they were portraying, they were manipulating, they were forming like a clay the people's opinion. So how come people were so naive and are so naive? How come people are so fooled into believe what the media houses are saying? I said it in the beginning when I sat down at some place and I knew those people, and I said the media is forming our opinion. So whatever issue we are coming up with, we have an opinion, and a very united opinion, without any grounds than how the media portrayed that person, that situation. So the talk went around, and some hours later, I just mentioned, just put the word out there, Netanyahu. Oh, that man is so... I said, now you see, my statement holds true. Everyone is vomiting when someone is mentioning Netanyahu. And what about Trump? Oh, the worst man ever. It's how the media was portraying him. It's how media made you believe, because we were not there. It's yesterday's news. You are tricked. I proved to them. You are really tricked. And people, they are so minded of not being tricked that they are in fact tricked. Because the media seems to be serious enough with the expertise in the studio, and they are siding with one party, always. And the media takes in those experts that are siding. They are not habil enough to have the view on both sides. They can slander. So that is how people are manipulated. Just as media want. And Julian Assange, he stated, in fact, the media in many times started, was the reason why the war happened. The president of America said this, the president of Russia said this, the president of Ukraine said this. That's the media. And then Putin, wow. Biden, wow. They don't talk to each other. And the media are not so into the case, into the persons. Look who is portrayed, not the case, but the persons. That is the trick that media have made us to believe, that Netanyahu is the worst case, is the extreme right wing. Nothing could be further from the truth. In Netanyahu's case, he have to be very flexible in order to have some co-partner. He have to unite both left and right. So you see, people here, if you can portray a guy that is in a way that states something very obvious, he is the extreme right wing. No one is saying extreme left wing. No one is stating that, because that is inside. When you are inside, you are safe. You can say whatever you want. That is the woke generation. The woke. How? Now I lost my words. I lost everything. So you have not this deep digging for the truth in the case. It's always the personal related media. Those that are portraying a person in that way aren't serious. You can't be serious as a journalist and portray a case according to what person he is. You'd have to go deeper than that. You'd have to go to the real stuff in the politics, in the rulings. Now, I think you got politicians that are dedicated to be according to what media really can say. So they are doing their best, excuse themselves, and be like pathetic politicians that have no backbone, have no ability to be strong and independent. To say something like that, you will be deemed over and out. And yesterday's news don't happen today, but it will return if we can't take it serious, like this Holocaust. We knew it. Our generation knew about it during the Second World War. It's called Second World War because it was a big war in Germany, in Poland, in Russia, Norway, England. So many Jews were slaughtered. Now, the people that the new generation doesn't know so much, so they tend to stick to hate, because hate is the thing today. If the media can portray something like, you would hate Netanyahu, wouldn't you? You would hate Trump, wouldn't you? That is their take on certain things. That leads to war. It leads to something that they could avoid if they were serious enough. So my friends, before you judge other people, try to find out who he or she is before you judge. Walk in their shoes. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I will be back. Take care, bless Israel, and shalom.